In this video series, we're going to talk about extending R, debugging, and obtaining help. When we install R, we begin with base R. Base R is developed by the R core team, which is responsible for the development and the maintenance of base R, the main R program. It is installed using the installation that can be found at the CRAN, the Comprehensive R Archival Network. So all of you have done this. When you installed R, you went to the CRAN, downloaded base R, whatever the most current version was at the time you went there, and then installed it. This implements on your system the R language and the syntax, and gives you some basic functions. R is very powerful even when you use just base R. But R can become more powerful when we extend it using R packages. R packages are developed and published by the R community. Who is the R community? Anyone who uses R, and anyone who decides to participate can develop and publish a package. A package is essentially a set of functions. You have recently learned how to create user-defined functions, and when you define those functions and then put them all in a file, that's sort of like having a personal package that you can then source in to your R notebook in order to write your R scripts. The main repository for official R packages is the CRAN, the same place where you obtain your base R installation. That's also the primary go-to spot for R packages. There are good reasons for going to the CRAN to get your R packages. There's a strict and formal submission process that individuals must use, and then every package is reviewed by selected volunteers to make sure that the package meets all the requirements, and they have strict requirements. The package has to run under the current implementation of R. It has to have very good documentation. Every function has to have help that is associated with it so that when you're in R and using that package and you need help, you can load help. And packages can be accepted or rejected by the volunteers, many of whom are on the R core team, who review those R packages. If we go to the CRAN, which we'll do right now, we'll find the number of packages available, and it's quite amazing, especially when you consider some of these packages are large and include hundreds of functions. There are currently, as I am recording this, 17,206 available packages, but if you go to the CRAN today, perhaps just a couple days after I record this, that number very well will have changed. It is a constantly growing number. You can look at packages a variety of ways. You can look at them by date of publication. You can look at them sorted by name. So here they are, sorted by name. If we want to look at any of these, here I'm going to go ahead and look at Bayes plot. What you get is you get a nice page, and this is part of the requirement of submitting to the CRAN. You get a nice page that tells us everything we might want to know about that package, including a link to a reference manual in which we can learn lots more about that particular package. One of the very nice ways to search for packages is to look at the CRAN task views, which currently have 41 different main subjects of interest. Here's one that appeals to me: Statistics for the Social Sciences. I click on that, and I see other relevant task views listed that I could click on, or I can get information about some of the main packages that are listed under the Statistics for the Social Sciences: linear and generalized linear models, analysis of categorical and count data, other regression models, other statistical methods. I note as I'm scrolling through here, I see bootstrapping and other resampling methods that we've learned about recently. So the CRAN is an excellent place to head when you want to learn about packages that are available. And it's always good to search for packages before you write your own functions, because there's no need to reinvent the wheel when someone has done this for you. Even though CRAN is the first place I always go, it's not the only place to go for packages. There are additional repositories. There are more than I've listed here. I just listed a couple of the main ones. There's Bioconductor, which is for bioinformatics, which might sound like something that you would never do. However, individuals in various fields often will write packages of interest in other fields. For instance, right here, I notice as I'm just scrolling down, not pre-planned, I just noticed this resampling, which is bootstrapping, based multiple hypothesis testing. Here's one: provides plotting capabilities for R graph objects. So it might not be apparent why we would be interested in Bioconductor, but in fact, it can offer us additional packages. RForge is another place, similar to the CRAN, except it is not the official R package repository. This is a separate repository, and note they say a platform for the whole R community. They talk about how to find stuff, they talk about how to submit stuff, and so there's more on here than I want to read about here in this video. But you can go ahead and take a look. Here are some of the most active things going on this particular week. I see down here regression user-oriented functions is on that list. So RForge, another nice place to go. And then finally, there's personal publishing. Most of the personal publishing of packages that take place are actually on GitHub. And so you would search GitHub using R as one of your search terms in order to find those packages. Now, just because it's personal publishing doesn't mean that it's second rate. Much of the stuff that I have obtained from GitHub has been high quality and helped me a great deal in my work. If you need to install packages from places other than the CRAN, you'll have to read about how to do that, but all of these sites, including individuals who publish on GitHub, will give you detailed instructions. It often involves loading another package into R from the official CRAN site in order to be able to download and install from a personal site or one of these other websites. But they'll give you step-by-step instructions, so I don't see any need to show you a few of those, and it's different at every site. The nice thing is that when you start with the CRAN, as we will see, it's very easy to be able to download and install our packages, especially if we're using RStudio.